Okay, welcome to 10 and our subseries, limited subseries, Tech Culture, brought to you in collaboration with BetterCulture. And I'm Shauna Dorsey with the Nebraska Tech Collaborative and intern NE powered by Exarban. Today, I'm here with
Kim Hoogeveen, owner of BetterCulture.
Excellent. Thanks for being here with me. All right, so we're going to do our overview, or not your overview, and then a summary of the tenets.
Excellent. Well, I'll give you a big picture of what we do with BetterCulture. Try and keep this short. We are on a mission with our company to help make the world a better place to work. We help companies be better able to attract, build, motivate, and retain phenomenal staff, put them in an environment they love. Been working at that for over a decade. About 4 years ago, we decided that we've been really pushing leaders in terms of what they need to do to build and protect a great culture. And we realized there's work to be done with the staff as well as to what every employee can do to build and protect a great culture as well. So we set out to create the 20 tenets by interviewing a lot of owners and CEOs and HR people, supervisors on what is it beyond technical skills, which are obviously important, but what is it that you really would value in terms of an attitude and behavior, day-to-day behaviors of your employees. And we got a ton of information, and we combined it all and worked it over several months and ended up with these 20 key tenets that we heard again and again and again of qualities of individuals they greatly value. And so we created the 20 tenets of culture. Ends up, not only is that true, but what we have found is that it also tends to characterize individuals who find terrific success both at work and in their personal life. So sometimes I slip up a little bit. It's technically the 20 tenets of culture, but in my mind, I see them also as 20 tenets of success.
Wonderful, wonderful. So today's tenet, as we're going through, each episode is focused on one tenet each. Today is tenet 13, which is?
Tenet 13 is restraint.
Okay, tell us more.
Restraint. This is something that I don't think it's a great pattern that we're seeing, but I think 20, 30 years ago, this might have not made the 20 tenets. But today, it seems that there are more passionate, hot-button issues which can create an uncomfortable work environment if we insist on bringing them into the workplace. So restraint is not a call to ask you to not have strong opinions. It's certainly not a restrictions on anybody's right to speak, but it is asking you to think about what helps maintain a work environment where we're comfortable with one another and we can do the essence of what the mission of our company is set there to do. So restraint refers to encouraging individuals to not needlessly bring controversial or hurtful, potentially hurtful topics into the work setting.
Okay, so I can think of a few that could show up in the workplace. Right, so interesting. I need to think about where to go with this one. So let's talk about when restraint is not applied. Okay, here we go. Not applied. How do you see or have you seen that impact a culture? Yeah.
Sure. What I've found is that you typically have, and I my term for them, but you have some flamethrowers occasionally within a work group or a setting that seem to be very uninhibited in expressing their strong opinions about controversial topics that are completely unrelated to the work center. I want to make sure I make this really clear.
That makes sense.
And we can all come up with a few. Is it okay if I pick
sure.
one out? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, I have no idea, Shauna, I think the world of you, but we've never talked about abortion. I have no idea what your position is on it.
True.
But for us to do this today, we don't really need to agree on it.
Right.
And I probably didn't need to come in today telling you what the right position on that is. It wouldn't have helped us be more congenial and be able to work this process out better if I had done that. So when you look at any of those type of issues, it is our belief, after talking with owners, CEOs, that those flamethrowers not only, and I hope people understand this, not only did they not contribute to a comfortable, mutually supportive work environment, they're also not very well thought of.
Right.
Now, some of those individuals, and I have a few of these that are in my friendship circle that I think err on this side. I think some of them think they are viewed as highly principled, assertive people. Come to find out, I think a lot of times they're seen as sort of pompous and uncaring.
Mm.
And so I don't think that's in their particular interest either. There's a time and place for it. If you're running for office, that's terrific. If you're in a bar with your friends, that's terrific. But in a work setting where we have an outcome, we're trying to produce the best possible products and services for our customers, and that's our mutual goal. It's best to show some restraint.
Yeah. Wow. It's so true. I don't think anyone can disagree with this one. Or any of them for that matter.
We found a few who do. Yes, we
so
found
funny.
a few who do. There are individuals who think we're trying to ask them to be someone they're not.
Oh, I see.
And so we've had some interesting discussions on this. Hopefully, we show enough restraint. We don't get irritated when they disagree with us. We simply say, well, can I point out the other side and why it might be better for you and for the other people in your work group?
Yeah.
You know, I avoid this term, but I actually deep down in my heart, I think it's a sign of maturity. And I think with maturity sometimes, and that's not necessarily correlated to age.
Yes.
I'm talking about social maturity. I think with maturity comes some wisdom and some judgment.
Yep.
And with that, at times, I think you develop the sense of when it's appropriate and when it's not.
Right.
I'll mention one other thing that I know is, I know in this regard, I'm out of step with some work settings. But have you ever been at a restaurant? Maybe you have a couple small kids with you, and you've got some people in the next booth that their conversation is just profanity laden.
Yes.
I worry that it's a function of my age, perhaps, but it is my opinion of the people. I don't know them, but I can't help it. My opinion of the people in that booth is there's not a chance in the world I would ever hire them. Now, whether you consider that restraint or not, I do. And I've seen the same thing in the work setting. We've taught groups, and then there's a break. There's 30 people in the room, and there's 2 people in the back that are very loud and very profane. It's not a personal offense, Sean. I hope you understand what I'm getting at.
I do.
I don't think it's helpful for their career.
Right.
I think they might miss how that's being perceived because to me, again, it's a lack of professionalism, a lack of maturity. I would encourage them to consider having more restraint in that setting.
Yes, that makes so much sense to me. And like you said, appropriate at the right place and time.
Correct.
A bar with your friends, no problem.
Correct.
Family restaurant, no. Work setting break, no.
I think it does. You know, there only has to be 3 or 4 people in that room that, if not offended, they're at least uncomfortable.
Right.
And really needlessly, we've made them feel that way. And so I think it just takes a bit of empathy for who else is in the room and who your audience is. And again, I think that's a sign of what I call a mature executive.
Right.
And I think the sooner we help people grow up in that regard, the more successful they're likely to be when they're thinking, who has the potential to go to that next step in their career? And so I hate people that are talented otherwise to shoot themselves in the foot,
right,
simply because no one's ever said, you know, it might be better if you just back that off 20%.
That's really good. And it ties into, you know, all of the tenets work together, right? So
They do.
when I think about kind, it applies to restraint, because if you're a kind person, you show restraint. I'm assuming this is like how I'm pulling this together a little bit, but
That's absolutely true. And you're right. The tenets do sort of spin together and overlap a little if you were putting diagrams together.
Yeah.
So I think you're correct. You know, being kind, being considerate, I think being aware of who else is in the room and how they may or may not be offended. I've come into work settings where there's very aggressive political posters up in
Right.
in an area, but they're not positive posters. They're
Right.
negative critical.
Mm-hmm.
And it just strikes me as a little bit immature.
Agreed. And I love the term social maturity. That's really good. So great conversation again. Thank you for this. I haven't asked this before, and we're out of time. But we're just going to keep going. We're going to call this one 10-ish.
Okay.
But for BetterCulture and for companies that want to learn more, take advantage of your resources, I know you have your website. But are there workshops and courses that people can sign up for and all of that?
Yes. Actually, if they go to the website, betterculture.com, we have webinars that we do regularly. We have a lot of free information. We call them evergreen information that we're putting out now on Better Culture. They can also get on our mailing list, and we send out a lot of, we think, helpful, we hope, periodic thought pieces on a variety of current things going on with leadership and culture. So yeah, we would love people to go to betterculture.com and sign up and get in touch with us.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for being here.
Thank you,
It's been
Shana.
awesome to have you.
Always good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.